Hello, friends. Welcome into NFL Daily, presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host, Tom Downey, here with all the latest NFL rumors on players and alleged trade requests, and of course, the head coaching carousel search. So we'll start things off with what everyone's talking about right now, Antonio Brown and his little incident. So, as you all know, Brown did not play in Week 17. Now, the Steelers had said, well, it was a knee injury, but now we've got reports that it wasn't actually a knee injury, and that Antonio Brown, during a walkthrough before practice on Wednesday, had an incident with a teammate. Some have said it's Ben Roethlisberger, by the way. Threw a ball at that teammate, and then went MIA during the rest of the week, decided to not practice after that, didn't show up for Saturday night's team meeting, showed up on Sunday, but was benched because of it. The latest in multiple incidents of Mike Tomlin not having control over his locker room, which is, I think, is an indictment on Mike Tomlin as a head coach. And now, because we're not done yet with Antonio Brown, now there is a report he wants a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that comes to us from big asterisks here. Jason Lockenfor, who says Antonio Brown has requested a trade, wasn't a demand, but that he has asked to be dealt. Now, the report from JLC is that the Steelers aren't likely to make this happen. Meanwhile, Ian Rappaport says that Antonio Brown hasn't officially requested a trade. This was more he exited the field in frustration on Wednesday, yelled, "I'm done," and vocally wondered why the Steelers just don't trade him. But he hasn't officially made a trade request. So the good old conflicting reports, for what it's worth, I do tend to believe Rappaport more than Jason Lockenfor. Meanwhile, other players have taken advantage of the reports and have tweeted at Antonio Brown, with Antonio Brown engaging as well. Now, we know Antonio Brown can be a bit of a diva. I think that's very clear by now. But the dude is an incredibly talented wide receiver on the field. This year, 100-plus catches, almost 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. When you're going through your top 5 receivers list in the NFL, Antonio Brown's on it. And frankly, he's actually kind of high up on it. If not #1, then he's definitely inside those top couple of. So now when it comes down to Antonio Brown, the big question is, should the Steelers trade him? And I don't think that they should, even if you believe the report that he wants out, which I'm not sure I actually do. I lean more towards no. Yes, you've got concerns in that locker room where Le'Veon Bell's had issues. Now Antonio Brown has issues. There's an awful lot of drama around the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ryan Clark, by the way, absolutely lit into his former teammate in Antonio Brown. Look, I think you keep him. Figure out how to get things settled on the field, off the field, whatever it is. He's too talented to trade away. Now, if you do trade away Antonio Brown, what is he worth in a trade? Let me know in the comment section. I think he'd fetch a pretty big return. Yes, he's making $17 million a year, but he's Antonio Brown. Yeah, he can be a bit of a head case, and a diva at times, but the dude is among the best receivers in the NFL. If Amari Cooper fetched a first-round pick with a year and, 2 years on his contract, if you include the 5th-year option, Antonio Brown's got 3 years left, and yeah, it's $17 million. He's worth it. I think it's talking at least one high first-round pick, probably more than that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120. Then after you sign up and deposit, they'll give you 50, or you put down 50, they'll give you $60 to bet with. Then DM us on Twitter at ChatSports. Use that promo code LIVE120. Then use chatsports.com/bet once you're there. And then DM us on Twitter at ChatSports. We'll get you guys hooked up with an NFL jersey of your choice. It is the best deal out there. Chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for that 120% deposit bonus, folks. You are not going to find a better betting deal out there than the one BetDSI is hooking you guys up with. We'll keep you rolling through some more NFL rumors. We'll get now to some head coaching talk here, at least head coaching searches. How about Mike McCarthy and the Jets? McCarthy will interview with the New York Jets, and this is McCarthy's first known interview per Ian Rappaport. Now, McCarthy, assuming he can bounce back after a bit of a down end of his tenure at Green Bay, would be a big boost for Sam Darnold. I think McCarthy in general wants more credit for helping develop Aaron Rodgers than I think he's gotten in the past. So McCarthy, I think, makes sense for the New York Jets. However, I want to make note here, this is obviously not the only interview the Jets have conducted, and we'll take a look at some of their other ones so far. Jim Caldwell, we know about this one. Eric Bieniemy, we know that one. A defensive mind, Chris Richard, Caldwell, Bieniemy, Rashard Batley all fulfill the Rooney Rule requirements. Todd Monken, the Bucs offensive coordinator, a mostly common theme in there. Offensive-minded coaches. I think that's the way the Jets will end up going. Now, I do want to make one note here as well. Matt Campbell, the Jets requested an interview with him, and Matt Campbell said, no, I don't want to interview for the Jets job, which I thought they were going to make a run at him. They did, but Campbell wasn't interested. So with Mike McCarthy, folks, where will McCarthy coach next year? Let me know in the comment section. I think the Jets make sense. Maybe the Bucs if he wants to go down there. And the Browns as well. I think the Browns and the Jets, with those talented young rookie quarterbacks, or I should say soon-to-be second-year quarterbacks, makes sense for a guy like McCarthy because those are among the more coveted jobs out there right now. All right, also open is the Arizona Cardinals job, and they're going to interview Adam Gase, the just-fired Miami Dolphins head coach. He will interview for the Cardinals job on Wednesday. Now, Arizona, they need to focus on getting the most out of Josh Rosen. There are conflicting reports out there right now about whether or not Adam Gase actually liked Josh Rosen coming out of UCLA. Of course, the Dolphins did not get him. The Cardinals moved up in front of Miami to secure him. Now, as I'm sure you know, the Cardinals are not going to be done here, and a very common theme has emerged as well in Arizona of their early reported head coaching interviews. Of course, Adam Gase, he's one of them. Eric Bieniemy is one, the Chiefs OC. That fulfills the Rooney Rule requirement. Zac Taylor, who we'll talk more about a little bit later on in the show, and also Dan Campbell, the Saints tight end coach. Now, I am sure the Cardinals are nowhere near done yet, so who should Arizona hire? Let me know in the comment section. Seems like Mike McCarthy is not interested in the Arizona Cardinals job. Let me know who Arizona should hire. Maybe they'll go after a guy like Matt Campbell as well, but I think for the most part, the Cardinals are going to focus on offensive-minded guys because their number one priority is making sure Josh Rosen is indeed the future. All right, so next up, the Green Bay Packers. Josh McDaniels will interview with Green Bay on Friday. Remember, we put him at number 1 on our head coach candidate list for the Green Bay Packers. Patriots have a bye this week, allowing McDaniels time to interview. By the way, the Bengals want to interview Josh McDaniels, and I wonder, as my father, who's a big Bengals fan, said, I wonder if he'll even show up for the interview because I feel like McDaniels doesn't want the Cincinnati Bengals job. Green Bay, meanwhile, since they fired McCarthy in the middle of the year, they've moved quickly on their interviews. All right, Jim Caldwell, Chuck Pagano have already interviewed. McDaniels interview on Friday, January 4th, and Dan Campbell will interview on January 5th. Other requested interviews: Brian Flores of the New England Patriots, Mike Munchak, who's getting some interviews, which I am not intrigued by as well, did not do that well with Tennessee, Matt LaFleur, the Titans offensive coordinator, and a dark horse, Pat Fitzgerald, who says he's going to stay at Northwestern so that after their bowl win just last night. Those are the interviews so far. So question for you. Would you hire Josh McDaniels? He bailed on the Colts. Do you trust him? And frankly, in his only other head coaching stint, things did not go well in Denver. Now, I think the big part there is don't let the young offensive mind who thinks he's a genius have too much personnel control. Didn't work with McDaniels in Denver. Didn't work with Adam Gase in Miami. And third, did not work either with Chip Kelly and the Philadelphia Eagles and McDaniels in Denver. So I am okay with it, but I don't think McDaniels is this slam dunk home run hire some people seem to think that he is. All right, folks, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, go get your own mizzen and main shirt. Comfortable.af is the site. I sleep in these things. I kind of did last night because it was a long night on New Year's Eve. Hope you guys enjoyed yours. But comfortable.af is the site. Go check it out today. You're not going to find a more comfortable shirt, dress or otherwise, than a mizzen and main one. All right, we mentioned Adam Gase and the Miami Dolphins. Well, they are once again overhauling their roster. More changes coming. Robert Quinn, he'll be cut. That saves almost $13 million. Andre Branch saves about 5 to 7. And then Devontae Parker will save almost $10 million. Plus, Ryan Tannehill also expected to be out, all per the Miami Herald. So the Miami Dolphins overhauled the roster last year, and they will continue to do so. Miami might be a bit of a multi-year rebuilding phase, given that you're going to lose a better defensive end in Robert Quinn and quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Looks like a reset year coming up for the Miami Dolphins. Well, sticking in Florida now, is Gerald McCoy gone? Well, GM Jason Litch didn't promise that Gerald McCoy would be back, just said, we have a lot of tough decisions to make, has a $13 million non-guaranteed deal this year. And then after Week 17, Gerald McCoy seemed to say goodbye. He said, I gave this team everything I had in the past tense. And McCoy has battled injuries at times, and the Bucs haven't been that good on defense, and you surely want more than just 6 sacks in a single season from Gerald McCoy, more in that 8 to 9 range. But he's still a very talented player. You do save $13 million on the cap, but it does open up a need at the 3 technique if you're the Bucs. So we'll see what happens with Gerald McCoy. Maybe they move to a 3-4 scheme, and it makes the need a little bit lesser. But McCoy's future very much in doubt in Tampa. If he does leave, trust me, he will have plenty of suitors this offseason. Speaking of suitors, Zac Taylor, the 35-year-old Rams quarterback coach, is drawing interest, and Sean McVay has given him plenty of praise. He is going to interview with the Arizona Cardinals, the Denver Broncos, and the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll make note here with the Bengals at least, it wasn't that long ago that Zac Taylor was the offensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati, so he at least knows the area well enough. In theory, the hope is that Zac Taylor is the next Sean McVay, but he doesn't call the plays. I know he's the quarterback's coach, but it's a bit of a high-risk, high-reward hire. Just 35 years old. As we've said all season long, Zac Taylor is going to draw interest. Already 3 interviews set up. Even if he doesn't get hired, there's going to be a massive amount of offensive coordinator interest around Zac Taylor. So we know that 8 teams looking for head coaches. Which team will make the first head coaching hire this offseason? Let me know in the comments section. I predict it'll be the Cleveland Browns. They've had the most time after all, right? Maybe they make the first move, but we'll keep you guys updated. So subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll have constant updates on the NFL head coaching carousel this offseason.